The galaxy had long forgotten about humans. It had been 500,000 years since they vanished without a trace. No one knew why or how they disappeared, but over time, stories about them became myths. The Galactic Federation, which controlled most of the known galaxy, assumed Earth was just an empty, dead planet. But they were wrong. One day, a group of explorers from the Xylox species, a curious and advanced alien race, decided to visit Earth. They had heard the old stories and wanted to see what was left of the legendary humans. As their ship approached the planet, they expected to find ruins and empty cities. What they found, however, was beyond their wildest imagination. The Xylox ship slowed as it entered Earth's atmosphere. From above, the planet looked peaceful. Blue oceans stretched out across the surface, and green forests covered much of the land. There were no signs of life, no buildings, and no activity. It seemed like Earth had truly been abandoned. Commander Zorak, the leader of the Xylox exploration team, stared at the planet's surface from the ship's control deck. "There's nothing here," he said, shaking his head. "The humans are really gone." But then something strange happened. As the ship flew lower, their sensors picked up a hidden energy source deep beneath the ground. It was massive and ancient, and it had been lying dormant for thousands of years. The Xylox were confused. How could there be energy on a planet that had been abandoned for so long? "Commander, we need to investigate this," said Vetra, the ship's chief scientist. "Whatever it is, it's incredibly powerful." Zorak nodded. "Prepare the landing team. We need to know what's down there." The Xylox ship hovered above a wide, open field. There were no buildings, no signs of human civilization, but the sensors were picking up something huge hidden below. The landing team, equipped with advanced technology and protective suits, descended to the ground. As they walked across the field, the ground began to rumble beneath their feet. The Xylox explorers exchanged nervous glances. Something was moving underneath them, something big. They activated their scanners, which showed massive objects buried deep underground. "Commander, this isn't just an energy source," Vetra said, her voice trembling. "These are ships, warships." Zorak's eyes widened. Impossible. How could human warships survive all this time? Before they could react, the ground split open. A massive metal structure began to rise from the earth. It was a colossal warship, larger than anything the Xylox had ever seen. The ship's dark metal hull gleamed in the sunlight, and ancient human symbols were etched across its surface. The Xylox team backed away in shock. "This can't be happening," one of the explorers muttered. The humans left. Didn't they? The warship continued to rise, its engines humming with power. The Xylox ship in orbit picked up strange signals coming from the planet. The warship was not the only one waking up. Hundreds, maybe thousands, of human warships were starting to activate all around the planet. "Commander, we have to get out of here!" Vetra shouted, panic in her voice. "We've triggered something!" But it was too late. Earth's ancient defense systems came online. Massive cannons emerged from the ground, and energy shields surrounded the ships. The Xylox were trapped. Their own ship, hovering above the planet, suddenly lost power. Earth's war fleet was now in control. Commander Zorak tried to call for help, but their communications were jammed. The humans had built an impenetrable defense, and now it was waking up after 500,000 years. Then a voice boomed from the warship, echoing across the planet. It was a deep, commanding voice, speaking in a language that had not been heard for centuries. "Humans will return." The Xylox explorers stood frozen in fear. They had come to explore an abandoned planet, but instead they had awoken the most powerful fleet the galaxy had ever seen. And now, they realized, the humans weren't gone. They were just waiting. Cliffhanger. As Earth's war fleet began to rise, the Xylox knew one thing for sure. The galaxy would never be the same again. The ground shook violently as the massive warships continued to rise from beneath the Earth. Dust and debris filled the air, swirling around the Xylox explorers like a thick fog. Panic spread among the team as they realized the true scale of what they had awoken. Commander Zorak struggled to maintain his composure. "Get back to the ship! Now!" he shouted, urgency clear in his voice. The team turned, their hearts racing, but the path back was already blocked by towering warships rising from the ground. As the first flagship broke through the surface, it released a blinding light. The ship's hull was dark and sleek, adorned with ancient symbols that glowed faintly. Suddenly, alarms blared across the Xylox ship in orbit, warning of incoming signals and strange readings. "Commander, we're losing control!" shouted Vetra, her fingers flying over the controls. "The defense systems are activating! We need to get out of here!" But as she spoke, the colossal flagship began to move. Huge thrusters ignited, and the ship lifted off the ground with a deep rumble. The Xylocs watched in awe and terror as the warship hovered above the field, powerful and majestic. The voice from the flagship echoed again, this time with a clearer command: "Intruders detected. Prepare for engagement." It was a message directed at the Xylocs. "Engagement?" Zorak gasped. "We didn't come to fight." But it seemed Earth's fleet had no interest in diplomacy. Without warning, the flagship fired a brilliant beam of energy from its weapons systems. The beam struck the Xylocs landing craft, sending it crashing to the ground in a fiery explosion. "Everyone to the ship," Zorak ordered, and they sprinted back toward their craft, dodging debris and energy blasts. The Xylocs ship was their only hope of escape, but it was too far away. As they ran, smaller ships began to rise from the ground. These were fighters, fast, agile, and equipped with weapons that glimmered in the sunlight. The Xylocs realized that the entire fleet was awakening, and they were at the center of it all. "Commander, we need to move," Vetra urged, glancing back at the chaos unfolding. "They're coming for us!" Just as they reached their ship, another energy blast struck the ground nearby, sending shockwaves through the air. Zorak and his team stumbled, but they managed to climb aboard. Vetra immediately began powering up the ship's systems, her hands moving frantically over the controls. "Engines are online, but we're not clear yet," she shouted. "We have to launch now!" The Xylocs ship was small compared to the massive warships now looming over them. Zorak looked at the view screen and saw the flagship preparing to fire again. "Prepare for takeoff," he commanded. "We need to get out of here before they target us." The ship lifted off the ground just as another energy beam shot past, narrowly missing them. Zorak steered the ship upwards, feeling a mix of fear and excitement. They broke through the atmosphere and entered orbit, but what they saw made their hearts drop. In space, the Xyloc ship was surrounded by a fleet of enormous human warships, all ready for battle. The Xylocs had thought they were the first to arrive, but they were now caught in the middle of a powerful armada. "Look at them!" Vetra gasped, her eyes wide with disbelief. They're beautiful." But beauty quickly turned to dread as the flagship turned its massive guns toward the Xyloc ship. The ship's systems warned of an incoming attack, and Zorak's heart raced. "Commander, they're going to fire!" Vetra shouted, panic rising in her voice. Zorak gripped the controls tightly. "Prepare to evade!" he yelled. "Get us out of here!" Just as the flagship fired, Zorak pushed the ship into a steep dive, narrowly avoiding the blast. The energy beam streaked past them, striking an unoccupied asteroid behind. The explosion lit up the darkness of space, a harsh reminder of the power they were dealing with. The Xyloc ship twisted and turned, trying to escape the wrath of Earth's fleet. Zorak felt a mix of fear and awe. They had come to discover Earth's secrets, but now they had unleashed something much bigger, a fleet that would not hesitate to defend its home. As they sped away, the reality sank in. The humans were back, and they were powerful. The galaxy would soon know that humanity had not vanished. It had merely been sleeping, waiting for the right moment to rise again. Cliffhanger, the Xyloc's crew realized they were not just running from the fleet, they were now part of a larger game. The awakening of Earth's war fleet would change everything in the galaxy, and they were caught right in the middle of it. The news of Earth's war fleet awakening spread through the galaxy like wildfire. From the bustling markets of Zorath Prime to the grand halls of the Galactic Federation, everyone was talking about it. The long-lost humans had returned, and their powerful warships were causing panic across the stars. On the capital planet of the Galactic Federation, a high-level meeting was called. Alien leaders gathered in a large conference room, their faces filled with concern. The air was thick with tension as they debated the implications of humanity's return. "Commander Zorak's reports were clear," said High Counselor Threx, a tall, blue-skinned alien with bright yellow eyes. "The human fleet is enormous and fully armed. If they decide to attack, we will not stand a chance." A murmur of agreement rippled through the room. Many leaders were worried. Some remembered the tales of human ferocity, while others feared the technological advancements the humans must have made during their long absence. "We must act quickly," said General Krylox, a stern-looking alien with sharp features. We can't let the humans reclaim their old territories. We need to form an alliance to protect ourselves. But what if the humans come in peace? Asked Lyra, a small green alien with large, expressive eyes. What if they wish to coexist? Krylock scoffed. Coexist? They left for a reason, and they are back to claim their power. We cannot trust them. Meanwhile, on the Xylox ship, Commander Zorak and his team were also trying to process the shocking events. They had narrowly escaped the wrath of Earth's fleet, but now they had to warn the Galactic Federation about the true nature of the humans. Commander, we need to relay our findings, Vetra urged. The Federation must understand the threat we're facing. If we don't act, we could lose everything. Zorak nodded, his mind racing. I know, but how do we convince them? They have their own agendas, and they may not believe us. As the Xylox ship floated in space, the crew quickly prepared a communication to the Galactic Federation. Zorak took a deep breath and began to speak into the transmission device. This is Commander Zorak of the Xylox Exploration Team. We have made contact with the human fleet on Earth. They are far more advanced than we thought. Their warships are massive, and they are not afraid to use their power. His voice echoed through the vastness of space, reaching the ears of the Federation leaders. The room was silent as they listened intently. The humans have awakened from a long slumber, and they are ready to reclaim their place in the galaxy, Zorak continued. We must unite to confront this threat. If we don't, we risk facing their wrath alone. Back on the capital planet, the leaders listened closely to Zorak's message. High Counselor Threx turned to the others. Do you hear this? The humans are not just a myth anymore. They are real and they are coming. General Krylox leaned forward, his eyes narrowing. Then we must prepare. Gather our forces. If the humans attack, we will need every ship we can muster. As the meeting continued, alliances began to form. Alien species who had once fought each other now banded together against a common enemy. The fear of humanity's return pushed them to unite in ways they had never imagined. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, whispers of the human fleet reached even the furthest corners. Some alien races began to prepare for war, while others attempted to make contact with Earth in hopes of establishing peace. On Earth, Commander Atlas, the leader of the newly awakened human fleet, stood on the bridge of the flagship, gazing at the stars. He had been briefed on the reactions of the galaxy and was ready for whatever came next. Captain, the reports are coming in, an officer said. Many alien species are gathering their fleets. They are afraid of us. Atlas smiled, a determined glint in his eyes. Let them be afraid. We have waited too long to reclaim our place in the galaxy. We will not back down. The bridge buzzed with energy as the crew prepared for the next phase. They had awakened from their long sleep, and now the galaxy would witness the strength of humanity. Cliffhanger. As the human fleet readied for their journey, an urgent message came in from the Galactic Federation. They wanted to meet to discuss terms, but would they come in peace, or would they prepare for battle? The fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. The hum of engines filled the air as the human fleet, led by Commander Atlas, prepared for their next move. The flagship, a massive warship known as the Horizon, stood proudly at the center of the fleet. It was not just a ship, it was a symbol of humanity's return to the galaxy. Atlas gathered his crew on the bridge. His expression was serious but determined. We have waited for this moment for thousands of years. It's time for humanity to reclaim its place among the stars. We need to show the galaxy who we are. As the crew nodded in agreement, the ship's sensors picked up multiple signals approaching from the Galactic Federation. The tension in the air was thick. What did they want? Were they coming to negotiate, or were they preparing for a fight? Commander, we have incoming ships, said Lieutenant Sarah, her eyes glued to the screen. They are Federation vessels. Atlas took a deep breath. Open a channel. Let's see what they have to say. The screen flickered, and soon the faces of the Federation leaders appeared. High Counselor Threx was at the forefront, his blue skin glistening under the lights of his ship. Commander Atlas, Threx began, his voice stern yet measured. We have come to discuss the situation regarding your fleet. We need to understand your intentions. Atlas straightened. Our intentions are clear. We are back to reclaim our home and our place in the galaxy. We have no desire for conflict unless forced upon us. Threx exchanged glances with the other leaders. Many in the Federation believe you pose a threat. Your warships are powerful and your sudden return is alarming. We do not seek war, Atlas replied firmly. We want to coexist. but we will defend ourselves if you choose to attack. We are stronger than you think." The conversation continued, but the atmosphere remained tense. Atlas could sense the fear among the Federation leaders. They were worried about what humanity could become after so many years of absence. Meanwhile, on the horizon, the crew prepared for possible conflict. The ship was armed with weapons that had not been fired in centuries. The systems were tested, and the crew ran drills, readying themselves for whatever might come. As the hours passed, news of the meeting spread throughout the fleet. The crew members, once filled with excitement at the prospect of returning, now felt the weight of their situation. They were no longer just explorers, they were potential conquerors. "Commander, the crew is getting restless," Lieutenant Sarah reported. "They want to know if we are going to fight." Atlas understood their anxiety. "Tell them that we will be ready for anything, but our first choice is always peace. We have no reason to attack unless we are attacked first." Just then, the communication system crackled to life. "Commander Atlas, we are receiving a message from the Federation. They want to meet in neutral space." "Neutral space?" Atlas echoed, raising an eyebrow. "What do they hope to gain from that?" "They want to negotiate terms, but it could also be a trap," Sarah warned. "We need to be cautious." Atlas considered this carefully. He knew the galaxy was watching. If humanity returned with aggression, it could lead to chaos. But if they showed strength and diplomacy, it could open doors for a new beginning. "Prepare our ships for a meeting," he decided. "We will go, but make sure we are ready for anything." As the fleet moved to the designated location, a sense of tension hung in the air. The vastness of space felt even larger with the weight of their actions looming over them. Upon arriving at the neutral zone, the human fleet faced the Galactic Federation's ships. Atlas's heart raced. This was their chance to show the galaxy that humanity was not just a relic of the past, but a force to be reckoned with. The two fleets faced each other, and a message came through from Threx. "We are ready to begin negotiations." Atlas stood at the forefront of his ship, looking at the stars. "Let's show them who we are. Let's prove that humanity has returned to life." Cliffhanger. As the meeting began, an unexpected alarm blared across the ships. An unidentified fleet was approaching fast, and it was clear they were not friendly. The fate of humanity's return hung in the balance, and the galaxy was about to witness the true strength of Earth's war fleet. The atmosphere in the neutral zone was tense as Commander Atlas stood at the helm of the horizon. He could see the fleet of the Galactic Federation facing them, but their attention quickly shifted as alarms blared. An unknown fleet was closing in fast, and their intentions were clear. "Commander, we are detecting hostile ships!" Lieutenant Sarah shouted, her fingers flying over the controls. "They are not responding to hails." Atlas's heart raced. "Identify the ships. Who are they?" "They appear to be from the Zorath Collective," Sarah replied, her eyes wide with fear. "They have a reputation for attacking unprovoked." Atlas turned to his crew, determination etched on his face. "All hands, prepare for battle! We cannot let them catch us off guard. Activate shields and ready weapons." The crew scrambled to follow orders, adrenaline coursing through their veins. As the Zorath fleet emerged from hyperspace, a massive armada of sleek, menacing ships, it became clear they were here to assert their dominance. "Commander, they are charging weapons!" Sarah warned. "We have to move now." "Engage!" Atlas commanded. The horizon and the other ships in the human fleet responded in unison, engines roaring to life as they positioned themselves for battle. The Zorath ships opened fire, bright beams of energy slicing through space toward the human fleet. Atlas gripped the controls tightly as they maneuvered to avoid the incoming blasts. "Return fire! Show them what we've got." The horizon fired back, its weapons lighting up the darkness. Energy blasts struck the nearest Zorath ship, causing it to explode in a fiery spectacle. The crew cheered, their confidence bolstered. "Target the lead ship," Atlas ordered. "If we can take out their commander, we might break their morale." The fleet moved as one, a well-oiled machine of strategy and power. They were no longer just explorers, they were warriors, reclaiming their place in the galaxy. The Zorath fleet, once confident, began to falter under the relentless assault. "Sir, the Zorath ships are retreating," Sarah shouted, astonishment in her voice. "Don't let them get away," Atlas replied. "We need to make a statement." With the Zorath fleet in disarray, the humans pressed their advantage. Ship after ship fell to their firepower, and soon the tide of battle shifted completely in favor of the human fleet. The galaxy was watching, and they were witnessing humanity's might. As the last Zorath ship fell, a message came through from High Counselor Threx. "Commander Atlas, we are prepared to discuss terms of surrender." Atlas's heart raced at the unexpected offer. "Surrender? After that display?" "Yes," Threx replied, his voice shaky but resolute. "We recognize your power. You are not the lost humans we once knew. You are a force to be reckoned with." Atlas nodded, feeling a sense of pride swell within him. "Then let's talk. But know this. We will not be treated as lesser beings. Humanity has returned and we will forge our own destiny." As they engaged in talks, the atmosphere shifted from fear to cautious respect. Other alien species that had once viewed humanity as a relic of the past began to reconsider their positions. The galaxy realized that Earth was no longer a forgotten world, but a powerful player on the interstellar stage. Meanwhile, reports of the battle spread throughout the galaxy. News outlets buzzed with stories of humanity's return and the fall of the Zorath Collective. The tales were filled with excitement and admiration. The humans had conquered their first battle in centuries, and their reputation grew rapidly. One by one, the remaining alien races began to reach out to the human fleet. They wanted alliances, trade agreements, and peace. They recognized the strength of the human war fleet and sought to coexist rather than confront it. Back on the horizon, Commander Atlas felt a mix of emotions. They had fought hard to reclaim their place, but with that power came responsibility. He knew that with every ally gained, every treaty signed, they had the chance to shape a new era for humanity. As the discussions continued, Atlas addressed his crew. "We have achieved something incredible today. We are no longer a forgotten species. We are the architects of our own future. But remember, with great power comes great responsibility. We must use our strength wisely." Cliffhanger. As celebrations began and the galaxy looked to humanity with hope, a shadow loomed over the newly formed alliances. A distant signal crackled through space, warning of an even greater threat gathering on the fringes of known space. Would humanity be ready to face it? Or would their newfound power be their undoing? The next chapter of their story was about to unfold.